It pissed me off so much when I first got my phone and I had restrictions. I used to have to turn it in at 9 every night.
She's not allowed to have her phone in her bedroom at night. So I do have some level of uh, network traffic sniffing and blocking in place. So um, that's limiting that they're not necessarily aware of.
When I do lectures, I find that it's about 50-50. 50% of the parents will say, oh yeah, we get all those gadgets out at 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. and then we put them in the closet to recharge, and even the parents need to put them in there so they don't sleep with their phones. I think right now about 40% of college kids will sleep with their phone, keep it on, and respond to the messaging that comes up, which means they all have interrupted sleep. I could really go into a whole lecture on sleep hygiene. Sleep is very important for health. It's as important as exercise and nutrition, the architecture of the sleep, to have full sleep and REM sleep. It's super important for teenagers. The sleep associations say that teenagers should have about 9 hours. On average, they get about 6. This is a problem. So one thing parents know is if they get media away, if that's the default, then they can't get at it, you know? We could say, oh, they need to self-manage, but they won't. It's just too hard. It's too dopamine rich. It's too rewarding. There's too much going on. So if we can just take that temptation and that burden off of them with a sleep or a nighttime cutoff, what a blessing. Well, you might make them mad, right? But we're trying to make them minimally mad. So that's why having meetings and talking about it so that they can reflect on the difficulty of sleep and having other ways to get to sleep than media, as well as the impact on their social lives, is trying to keep up with all those likes and the social media demands or the snaps. So to have them talk about some of their burdens and to validate that and to appreciate that is part of the equation, so that we say, well, it solves part of your problem if you tell your friends that it's off from 7 to 9, or it's going to be off permanently after 10, so they can use us as the bad guy, because some of them want the relief of not being on full time. It's a burden, and how hard is it to do homework or write a paper when you're toggling back and forth and trying to have focused attention when you're going off to 4 other stations. So we're kind of doing them a favor by having a conversation, but they need to be part of it, especially the older teenagers. Having them not mad is probably unrealistic. It's how mad, or how angry. Being somewhat ambivalent about media management is true for all of us. And that leads to another point, which is what I hear about from teenagers is they say, you think I'm bad, my parent is worse. And in so many cases, parents are struggling with media management too. So we really don't have moral authority or moral credibility if we're trying to have them improve their habits and we're not improving our own, which is another good reason to have a family conversation about what are our challenges and what little steps toward better habits do we all want to take on. Because sometimes the teenagers have wonderful feedback for parents to improve their health habits with media.